Love is our true divine nature, and our heart serves as the intersection of the spiritual and physical, connecting our soul with our body as the conduit for anchoring our divinity onto the earth plane. Embodying our divinity is the key to our ascension and to manifesting our highest destiny in this life. The teachings of the heart are alchemy. Join spiritual mentor and channel Jennifer Spohr each week on a sacred journey to lift the veil to remembering your divinity and meet other beautiful souls who are living the path of the awakened heart. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the show. Today, I am excited to welcome to the show Joy Baker. She is a remarkable and compassionate soul dedicated to guiding her clients on a profound journey of emotional release and healing. With a unique expertise in untangling the threads of trapped emotions resulting from trauma, Joy's work transcends conventional healing practices. In a world where the scars of life's trials often remain hidden within, Joy shines a light on the transformative power of acknowledging and releasing these hidden pains. I am so, as I said, excited to welcome you to the show. Trauma is something that affects all of us, and I just can't wait to dig into this conversation. So, welcome.
Thank you, Jennifer, for having me on your show. And like you said, trauma, and I mean, that's why we get on this path because something has happened. There's been some kind of trauma or abuse or experiences. And, we'll get stuck in it often for the longest time, even decades, can take a while to get on the path. But like in my case, I just kind of went, there's got to be something more. And it's like once you say that, you send that intention, that frequency out to the universe, and the universe goes, okay, we heard you. So, here we're going to give you something that will support your awakening. So, yeah, it's great to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, trauma really is something that affects all of us. And it's, something I'm feeling guided to bring forward too is that we, have been living in this society, right, that conditions us and teaches us to believe that we have to suppress all of these
Hmm.
experiences and just, muscle through and push on and until we become conscious to the effects of it, we don't realize really how enriching our lives can be to be free from having all of that energy stored in our body, right? Like it's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, what you just used my words there, free of that, free of that energy. That's one of my highest values is freedom, growth, and integrity. And yeah, we're exactly like you said, we have been birthed into, the 3D consciousness, which the thread that holds that all together is fear and anything that aligns with that. So fear, guilt, shame, anger, disappointment, anxiety, all that holds that together. And then there's limiting beliefs, there's limiting thoughts, there's limiting emotions. And you summed it up right there. We're so used to pushing through that. That was definitely my MO was just, yeah, it's tough, but I will push through. And I did, and I pushed through. But eventually, I know I certainly did. I think most of us, you get tired of that and you start to realize there's got to be another way. And I didn't remember anything, the abuse I went through growing up, different things and such. I didn't remember that. It's just when I was with the horses, I spent the first part of my life with the horses, and the horses were always my friend, and they were just my friends. And they're really good listeners. I could
Yeah.
sit and talk to them about
Yeah.
everything. Um, but I was on at that time I was on the racetrack with the horses, loved it, but it was like I think everything in the world, especially in the northern hemisphere anyways, was going more from it was around the 90s, I guess, when I felt it like things were moving from more personable, relaxed energy to more business like
Mhm.
and that stress level. And I felt that with the horses. And I wasn't. I love the horses, but everything else was just stressing me out. And, physically, I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. And that was when I started to say, there's got to be something more. Actually, I wanted to buy a ranch. I wanted to get my own ranch and horses. And so I started looking at my money situation. And then I started looking at different things. And that kind of guided me to books that were, like about the power of the mind. And at first, it was just about the mind. I didn't know anything about energy. I had no idea at that time. But then I just started following this path. And then, yeah, when I was introduced to energy and I learned about how, we have our energy field and energy fields between people interact. That was it. It was like something I didn't even know it, but my heart and soul had been searching for that my whole life. Because once I started understanding energy, everything started making sense. And like you were saying, in this society we're born into, like the consciousness is fear-based 3D consciousness. We're taught, again, more in the at least Western teachings, are we're all separate. All our body parts are separate. We're separate. Well, we're not. And energy, it's almost like that was the key that brings it all together. And it's like, oh, we are all connected. It's just that it's beyond the five senses. So and then I just started studying energy and the chakras and the meridians and how we're connected and did a lot of self-healing and I continue to do that and such. And like I will do acupressure points on myself and I just find them intuitively and through research and such and clearing the meridians. And so I use everything I use with my clients, everything I've used, on myself.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I believe that's really what it's about, right? For us to share our wisdom, our experiences that are crystallized into wisdom, to then share those with those that we're feeling called to serve. Um, I would love for you to share more about what would you say was the greatest catalyst to you choosing this path?
Honestly, I don't think I chose this path. I think it found me.
Mm-hmm.
When I, the biggest thing really, like I said, when I was with the horses, I wanted a ranch. I wanted to have my own farm and horses. I didn't want to work for anybody else. And that takes a lot of money. Even, 30 years ago, that took a lot of money, never mind
Well, and
now.
that's not an easy path, right? Either
Yeah.
running a ranch is like that's
Exactly. And so I started looking for ways to, make money. I was introduced to network marketing and then the books with that great sales training. I was in sales off and on for 20 years, so I started doing this full time. So it's great relationship and sales training. But that was when I was introduced to the books about the power of the mind and our thought and belief processes. And so I never really, I think the path found me in that way. And then when I read the Celestian Prophecy, and that's when I started to understand about energy and energy fields and how, they interact between people, even if we're on the other side of the world or, but depending on the emotional intensity, those energy fields are interacting. And that was, I started studying different healing modalities, I can't remember them all. Donna Eden, Barbara Brennan, learned EFT, different things like that. And everything I learned, because it was around 2006, I started having some pretty significant health issues, like nothing that was diagnosed, but just if I'd continued, I eventually would have been diagnosed with chronic fatigue or Epstein-Barr or something like that. But I had to work. I had to make money. That was kind of the kick in the butt I needed. And so by that time, I knew EFT and I found a pretty decent job, but I was absolutely but there was no way I could work 40 hours a week. So I just started really focusing on EFT. Like I would do that 6, 8 hours a day sometimes, just like
wow.
well, I did it pretty intensely, but I mean, this is where I am now. That was 2006, so almost 20 years later. But it was like, that was like a choice point. We all have a choice point. And because I had no other recourse and I needed money, my choice point was kind of made up for me. I had to get myself healthy enough to hold down a job. But if I hadn't, I would have just kept getting sicker and sicker. And fortunately, I had, through my research, found EFT by that time and was able to use that on myself to become healthy enough to hold down a job, to make money. And then I just kept going forward from that place. And that also reiterated to me again the power of energy healing and the power of going deep into those wounded places, because that's why I was getting sicker and sicker. There were some really deep wounds of, it was actually around by that time I remembered sexual abuse, and
Mhm.
I ultimately remembered through 8 years of repressed memories. And so, it was over 8 years and such. And I realized I needed to go deep into that wound and, that wounding and pain. And so I did that through the use of EFT and was able to just turn things around and become healthy enough that I could work a full-time job and make some money and go forward from that place. And then that led to different things. I was I never wanted to work for anybody else. I mean, on the racetrack, I didn't mind it with the horses. But so I just kept going from job to job. I'd work a little,
Yeah.
several months and find something else.
Well, beyond the just time for money, right? Beyond the just working too much, I feel like when we stay in situations that also aren't aligned with
Mhm.
us, that can cause us to feel drained and to feel sickly as well. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was like, for me, I didn't realize this at the beginning until towards the end. The jobs were like, I would grow, like they say when you get a job, relationships are about growth and healing. And jobs are one way you can work through relationship issues. And I always found somebody when I look at it in all my jobs who reminded me, maybe of a family member or sibling or something, and I had to work through something. And looking back, it's like, okay, work through that. Now let's move on. So yeah, I had a lot of different jobs for about 20 years there.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't mind sharing, I'd love to back up a little bit to what you shared about the trauma that you experienced, and I'm sorry that that happened to you. Um, when you experienced all these repressed memories coming back, because I've had a similar experience several years ago, and I think it's common for people when they're experiencing that to question it, right? Because it's like, I didn't remember that happening before, especially when it's happened with someone who you know that you've been
Mhm.
close to, that you put a lot of trust in, or maybe like even depended on. I'd love for you to share more with us about your experience and how you moved through to, heal and transmute that.
Yeah, sure. When I first remembered, yeah, and when I remembered who it was, which, it was somebody close to me, I didn't want to believe it. And it just, actually, at the time, I was taking counselor training full time, plus working two jobs. So I was crazy busy. So I took every shift I could, plus, the schooling, plus I ate everything I could. Like literally, I was just trying to shove this down because I did not, when I realized it, and started to remember I didn't want to, and I did not believe it was true. I didn't believe the person who I remembered, was I didn't believe it was true. I thought, in my mind, I thought, okay, I've got to be making this up. There must be some part of me that wants attention, which, and I've had clients say this too, well, maybe I just want attention, which is, I mean, you're not telling anybody anyways, and it's not something you're going to make up. But yeah, that's where my mind went. And I was a little messed up for a while and in a lot of fear. More, it was actually terror at that time. And so it took me about 4 years to really believe that it happened and who it was of memories. And then I had kind of a quiet period for about 5 years, but everything just kind of stayed, it was just kind of a stuck period. And then I started to remember again well, it was 2010 was this, I call it the second go round. And this time it was even more intense. But that actually showed me the power of the mind, because the second time I remembered for about 4 years, if I remembered that the first time, I probably wouldn't be here. And as it was in 2010, spring of 2010, I was nearly committed suicide. And I don't think it would have been an attempt. It would have been successful. So if I had remembered that the first go round, I think it just would have, I would have said I'd had enough. And I remember I was walking one day, beautiful place, the energy of the place. The first time I went there, it felt like gratitude. It was just a beautiful place.
Mm.
And I remember walking and a memory started to come in. I didn't even realize it was at first. And then I started to think about it, and then I realized what it was. And it was probably, I mean, it horrified me, absolutely, completely horrified me. And that in that moment, I decided I wasn't going to commit suicide. Like I'd actually made that decision. That was not going to happen. And so I went, okay, well, from this point forward, I have no value. I will survive, but I have no value. And here's an example of I figure the universe looking after each of us, definitely looked after me. Because 3 days after that, I was in a workshop, like a in-person workshop. So this was around 2010, 2011. And see, if I had stayed stuck in, I have no value, I will survive, but I have no value, I would have just stayed stuck in that. But because it was only a few days and I had this workshop, and being around, like I knew the facilitator quite well, I knew some people in the workshop, and it was 3 days. And I actually talked to the facilitator about this. I was able to get past that and realize, just understand it at a way deeper level. So to me, that was absolutely the universe saying, okay, this is a memory you need to have, but we're going to make sure you don't stay stuck in that, because I had that workshop and all that support just a few days later and getting past that.
Well, what you say about support is super important too, right? Because again, we live in a society that encourages us to conform and not, show up, right, as who we are authentically, whatever experience it is. And so really having that support system, surrounding yourself with people who are on a similar journey and people who you truly trust is just really can make all of the difference sometimes, especially on a journey like that where you're releasing such deep, impactful, trauma. What would be if someone is in the beginning stages, right, of, they're having their own memories and on their journey, they're in a space where they're ready to start releasing, what would be the number one thing that you would suggest to someone on their own to begin moving that energy and transmuting it?
It's unique for everybody. Number one of the things, so if somebody's just starting to remember, I first of all, I would say to them, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And this does not define you. We believe that defines who we are. It doesn't. That does not define you. I would encourage them to look at it, if they're able to, look at it from like beyond the five senses. And it's an experience. It was an experience that happened because when you get through it, that you get through that dark energy and that terror and that fear, you will expand so greatly. Like you will be so in the light and so of the light and radiating the light that you will look back and go, that's why I had to go through that. But know that it will pass. And if somebody's remembering right now, the reason they're remembering is because, and this is the only reason they're remembering, well, one of them is because they have that strength within them. They have that strength within them. I believe with what I've experienced and such, that the universe knows if you start remembering something like sexual abuse or something like that, the universe knows that you have enough strength, courage, and awareness within you to work through it and to whether even if you feel like you have no support in your life, and when it first happens you feel like you can't tell anybody. First time I told somebody was actually at a workshop, and I thought I was going to die. Like I just thought, okay, I spoke a secret. It was never supposed to be spoken, and nobody was supposed to hear it. And I was sitting at the back of the workshop, and I just thought, I mean, it wasn't a rational thought. It's just because what I was told, growing up. And but you will get through it. And you have so much light within you. You have so much to give that when you almost attempt to take yourself out of that and look beyond it and say, okay, this is an experience I'm having. And sometimes it's going to be really traumatic and I'll feel really scared and hyper vigilant in that. But remind yourself when you can, this is an experience and I will get through this and I will be way so much stronger for having gone through this. This is about letting the light free within you and radiating that. So know that if somebody's going through this right now, you're going through it because you are absolutely a peaceful light warrior and you are here to share that with others.
Yes. What a profound truth. Thank you. Tell me more about what is it like from the client experience to have you holding space for them? How does that assist them in moving forward on their healing journey?
Okay, so um well, so if I'm speaking from this is what I offer the client,
Mhm.
so is, yeah, when somebody, and that's basically, you summed up right there, actually, Jennifer, what I do is I hold the space for them so that they feel safe, that it's safe to remember, it's safe to work through their stuff, it's safe to value themselves, to recognize their worth, and then until they can move into that. And it's like, because generally people in our life, society, the conditioning, the consciousness we've been birthed into and raised in doesn't support us believing in ourselves and recognizing our worth and dreaming. I mean, often we're not, taught or encouraged to dream and vision what's possible and such. And yes, I hold that space. It's like a space of light and beauty and what's possible, and until they can start to believe in that for themselves. And then when they do, and often I can literally tell a shift in my clients, the ones that work with me for a while, I can tell there's been a shift because I can feel that stronger energy and they're more grounded in that energy. And so it's just like holding a container or a space of light and what's possible until they're ready to step into that and embody that.
You love that so much. And you know what? That is a wonderful sign of an amazing mentor and healer is when they can hold space for you to become what you aren't even able to see yourself at the time. That's the good stuff right there. It just really gives me the warm and fuzzies. I just love it so much. I have a question for you about collective trauma because there's a lot going on in the world, obviously, a lot of conflict and it can be easy, really easy, especially for someone who's a sensitive being to get wrapped up because there's so much to care about, right? So trauma comes in a lot of forms, and a lot of people are feeling traumatized by all of the events that are happening. What is your expert advice on helping someone to more productively, cope with that?
Good question. Because actually, I just been thinking the past few days about, like, I think what you're describing is compassion fatigue. is when you're highly sensitive and care so much and there's so much going on in the world, and then it's chaotic and often and has been for the past 5 years, and it's going to continue for a while, the chaos. Often, a person's not feeling safe themselves. So I call that compassion fatigue, where it's too much. In fact, I had a couple days last week where I went, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I think I'm kind of disassociating a little bit because it was just too much going on. But I was aware of that. A couple things. First of all, start by putting the focus on yourself and believing in yourself. So say to yourself, I like myself. I appreciate myself. I matter and I am important. I am enough. I choose to treat myself with kindness, understanding, compassion. I choose to uh, just use kind words, sentences towards myself. And even if you feel like, okay, I didn't do that right or I did that wrong, so what? Be kind to yourself anyways. In other words, start by strengthening yourself. Strengthen yourself with your words. Your words can strengthen you, build up your immune system, support your health, or it can, destroy you or weaken you. And so use your words with kindness, compassion, understanding towards yourself. And if there is so much going on and you're focused on and you feel it draining yourself, then take a break and do something kind for yourself. Go for a walk or talk with somebody or just watch a movie or whatever it is. Take some time for yourself. So use your words to build yourself up. Take some time for yourself. And then realize that you can't fix or save anybody or any situation. What you can do is if you're able to support in some way, whether, be there for the person or support financially, go ahead and do that. But if you feel like you can't do that, then let's do this right now. So just take a deep breath in, just let your whole self relax. And now put your attention on your heart. Just put your attention and your focus on your heart. If you want, you can put your hand there or just put your attention there. And now see yourself being filled up with that radiant, beautiful, angelic love. Just see your heart being filled up with angelic love, beauty, grace, that divine presence. And now send little puffs of that divine presence and angelic love out it can be to the world, it can be to a specific person, a situation, it can be somewhere that's experiencing trauma. Just send that beauty, grace, that divine love and presence from your heart out to the situation or person. And in that way, you're actually freeing them up because feeling sorry or bad for somebody, that's an energy that keeps everything stuck. They will never be free. You won't be free. They won't be free. But when you are blessing them from your heart, first of all, you fill up with that energy. So you receive the benefit, first of all. And then when you're sending that out, you're actually freeing them energetically from that situation. And a lot of people, it can feel that's they're not just words. It can sometimes feel like it's just words. Okay, well, that's nice, but I'm not doing anything.
Mm.
Because we're taught in this society to fix or save, or unless you're right in the midst of the action, you're not doing anything. But really look at that because we live in energetic space. We are energy beings. Everything is energy. So sometimes, and I know you've heard of this, Jennifer, I'm sure all your listeners have, but really sit with that and imagine you're feeling bad about something, whether something, towards a person or something they said or did, or something that's happening in the world, and you feel bad. And, oh, I should be able to do more. I wish I could do this. I wish I was there and I could help them. I wish I could just fix this. I wish, this person was out of power, whatever it is. Look at that energy and just notice how you feel in your body. It feels heavy, feels dense. Well, that's what the energy, like your wish, your desire to do good is amazing, but the energy is keeping everything stuck. But when you breathe and just, go into your heart and you feel that beautiful, light, angelic energy, that divine love and presence, and you send that out to a person or situation or parts of the world, or the desire for a light government, divine light government, anything like that, you're actually releasing the current heaviness around that situation or person and freeing you and them up.
Thank
So,
you so much for that. Yeah, it is so relevant to the times that we're in right now. You have a treat for us, a special gift for us. Tell us.
the group
Yes,
process? Yeah,
yes.
okay. Yeah, we can do that. So just take a deep breath in, and there you go. So what I'll do, I'm going to first of all clear any heavy energies, any stuck energies, any of the low consciousness emotions. We'll go there first. So that is the unconscious of the collective. Let's go there first. And first of all, there's a little bit of anger coming up. So as we identify and acknowledge these, we are shining divine light upon them. So they're releasing immediately, like they're being sent to the light. So, and there's a little bit of, it's like an angst that's coming in. It's almost like what we were just talking about. I want to do more. I feel like I should do more, but I can't. And so you're getting kind of wound up there. So yeah, there you go. So we're just witnessing this. So let's witness this energy. There you go. Just let this be released in its entirety to the light on all levels, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, cellular, and throughout all time and space. There you go. There's some great grace, beauty, light. There's some happiness. And there is some, what's this energy that's coming up now? It's kind of almost like a distraught energy. It's, oh, this is a part of you that feels sad about see, as you move into the higher energies, frequencies, expansiveness of beauty, you radiate with, you be angelic light, beauty, that divine power and strength, and you feel that, you embody that within you. There's a part of you that from the moment you were conceived, you were birthed into that, the heaviness of 3D consciousness, and that's like a loss. And you feel that's what you're feeling right now. It's the sadness and the grief around that loss of the heaviness and the density. Because why? Because that's familiar and it's become your comfort zone. So let's simply just acknowledge that, acknowledge the loss, and let's honor the part of you that there's a part of you that would like to stay in that heaviness and density because it's familiar. So let's simply acknowledge that. There you go. There, let that go on all levels, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, cellular. There, take a deep breath in, let that go. And now there's happiness, the frequencies of happiness circulating within you, filling you up with happiness, joyfulness. There you go. There's some fun energy, and there's your child within you, feeling like they feel like they want to have fun and vibrance. There you go. There's some vibrant energy, joyfulness, and just feel the expansiveness of that. Just feel like your whole self just expands out, 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 and connects to others, connects to the beauty in the world, the non physical, beautiful, benevolent light angels, so light beings. There you go. Connecting to all the beauty in the world, humanity's beauty, kindness. There you go. And you feel amazing. And just notice your body. Notice how your body in this moment feels light. It feels free. Your body feels free, light, flexible. Your muscles, your tendons are relaxed and at ease. Your blood flows easily and effortlessly throughout your entire body. Your mind feels relaxed. Your heart feels joyful, uplifted, happy. Your entire self, mind, body, spirit, soul, feels relaxed, at ease, joyful. Soshoka basa wala sa shoko, soshoka basa wala ka, awala sa, soshoka basa wala ka, wala sa shoko babaka, awala sa, soshoka basa wala ka, wala sa shoka basa, babaka, wala sa shoko, soshoka basa wala ka. Awala sa soshoka basawala ka babaka tukabase. There you go, my friend. Namaste.
Thank you, Joy. That was amazing and beautiful. Thank you so much for that gift. My crown chakra is all tingly.
Awesome. You're just receiving that beautiful angelic
Yes,
energy right through your
I
crown.
love it so much. Thank you. And thank you for sharing all of your wisdom today.
Thank you for having me on the show, Jennifer. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was so wonderful. And for those folks who are feeling guided to connect with you more deeply, we'll have all of your information and links in the show notes. But where is the best place for them to go?
My website, courageinaction.com. So that's courageinaction.com. And they can get a free ebook there. It's Messages from Spirit. There are several written ones, and there's about an hour and a half of MP3s. So that's on the website. They just enter their email and they receive that immediately on the web. It actually comes up on the internet right away. So
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you again for that amazing gift and just for all that you do and for all of your service. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you, Jennifer. And thank you for, like you said, your labor of love, this podcast, because that's absolutely what it is. It's a labor of love.
Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure and my joy.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Path of the Awakened Heart. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or pathoftheawakenedheart.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about living with an awakened heart and navigating your ascension journey, visit me at jenniferspore.com.